Hello, Egyptology lovers. Welcome back to another translation of a very important stela that's located at the Cairo Museum. This stela is located at the very far end of the museum when you exit, and it's on the right side of the wall. So you'll recognize the red wall color here, so you might be able to find it if you're walking around. So a little backstory about this stela, which makes it very important to academics, is that it's called the Restoration Stela of Tutankhamun. So this is the first year of the reign of Tutankhamun after his father Akhenaten had passed away. And I'll read the date for you when we get to the translation. What's important about this stela is the restoration of Tutankhamun. So he has basically been crowned as the boy king, and through him, all that was done that unfolded through his father's reign, Akhenaten, who established the Atenism or the monotheism of ancient Egypt, was completely turned over, switched back to the old gods, because that was the chaos that Akhenaten had established. So Tutankhamun was actually called Tutankhaten, so he was the living image of Aten. But later, when he became king and the old gods were brought back, his name became Tutankhamun. And you can see this on his throne chair in Egypt. He has two different names on the golden chair. So he moved his administration away from Akhenaten, the city which was north of where Memphis is, and moved it over to Memphis, to the seat of power of Thutmose I, who was the pharaoh of the second pharaoh of the 18th dynasty early on. This stela dates about 1336 to 1327 BC, which is, of course, the 18th dynasty. And now this stela really is a proclamation to reverse the religious shifts made by his father. The inscription is meant to justify the new king's actions and present him as a legitimate king. Has been extremely influential in the reconstruction of Akhenaten's agenda. So it's helped us to reconstruct what was happening. And you'll see in the sections as we translate the many different ideas of what was occurring in that time. So the way we progress with the translation, as I do with my other videos, is we begin by kind of reading and translating and describing the images on the top, and then we do the translation line by line. These hieroglyphs move from left to right, so we're just going to come all the way down to the very bottom here. So stay tuned for that. All right, so now we're going to do the translation of the top part of the stela. What you're seeing on the very top here is known as the winged solar disk. You have the sun disk on the very top here, which is flanked by two wings, and you have two cobras here, which are protectors of Upper and Lower Egypt. They have the crown of Upper and Lower Egypt, and it's a symbol of protection which is connected to Horus. This image can be dated as far back as King Snefru, and it's about 26th century of the Old Kingdom. And it refers to also the Behedite. So this is really something to do with Thebes, but also related to Horus himself. So there's a lot of connection from there, Horus of Edfu and even Re-Horakti. So it can be depicted with the Apis bull and the bull of Ptah. So it really has a significance of protection. That's all you need to know about that. Now above it, you can hardly see it, but you can see this kind of crescent on the top here. That is the sky. So to the Egyptians, the canopy of the sky was the limits of the Earth's sky or top area. And this is the word pet, the very top over here. This is very common to put in a lot of stelas. So when we come to the main body of the text, you need to know that the text is mirrored. So the images are all mirrored. The left and right are identical. They're just simply mirrored. So they're all saying the same thing on both sides. So let's just go through, I guess we could do the left side if that helps. The only difference is what the pharaoh is offering. So this is Tutankhamun right here, wearing the war crown, offering lotus and papyrus. So lotus and papyrus to the god of Amun, who is the state god. The god Amun is reaching over here with the scepter of power and kind of giving power and life, which is connected with the word, you see that little life symbol? It's connected to give him life and power. Amun is also followed or embraced by his wife or consort Mut. She is a later consort. Before it was Amunet, but now it is Mut. And she is the goddess right over here who wears the double crown of Egypt. He wears the double plumes. She wears the double crown. Both of them are carrying the the symbols of life in each hand, always carrying life to give away. And that is identical on both sides. The only difference is that Tutankhamun on the other side is offering libation or water or purification to Amun. And that's all he's offering. Here he is wearing the Nemes headdress, And that's the only difference with some decorations that are put on his regalia, which I think is missing over here. And he's also giving Amun the same thing. He's giving the scepter of power with a symbol of life to Tutankhamun. Now, when it comes to the translation is identical on both sides. So it's going to be directly whichever way the person is facing. So if Tutankhamun is facing towards the right, then we're going to read the translation over here, and it's going to go from right to left. So here it says, the king of Upper and Lower Egypt, so the Sejin, which is one of the common titles of a pharaoh, probably considered the fourth reincarnation of the names. The Lord of the two lands, and here is Horemheb's name. Remember, Horemheb usurped this Stela. So we have Horemheb here pretending to be, of course, the pharaoh of this particular object. Here it says his throne name, which is Jesekare Setep Enre. That's part of his throne name. And then here it actually means, it's hard to see, but it says, sacred are the manifestations of Ra, chosen of Ra. And over here is the name of Horemheb on the second cartouche, which is the personal name. Here it says, it's kind of mismatched, but it says, beloved of Amun, and then Horus is in festival. That's what his name means. Horemheb means Horus is in festival. And then here you have the standard title of blessing, which is given life or eternity. Then over here is Amun, who is giving and saying things to Tutankhamun. So it starts over here. Amun is saying, giving life. He is giving life. Sorry, that's the third person suffix pronoun. He is giving life, stability, health, and then all. So this is all. So if we read this correctly, it would be he is giving life and all life, stability, and power. Then we have Amun, which really here is Amun-Re. So Amun-Ra, because Amun with the Re symbol down here, who is the Lord of thrones, the two lands, and the Lord of the sky. And here it says he is the king of the gods. Above him, if you have the Behedite, remember how I described that the winged sun disk was known as the Behedite, associated with Horus of Edfu? Well, here it is, the Behedite, who is the great god. Here, where Mut, so this splits down the middle here. This is a small title for Mut. Here it says Mut, that's her symbol. It's a vulture, so it's Mut. She is the lady of Ishiru, so that's where she's connected to, where her location is. The lady of Ishiru, or mistress of Ashiru. And she is the mistress of all the gods. That's it. That's all that describes her. And on the opposite side, it's the same thing. Down here, this is broken off, it's kind of damaged, but we kind of still see it over here. So the reading here it says, which is identical on both sides, is all protection, life, stability, power, and health behind him, like Re, and then the word forever, which is broken off. Here it's the same. You could see a little bit the word for protection, a little bit for life, stability, power, and then the rest is kind of badly damaged. And the word all, and then the word like is also damaged, and then the word Re. You can still see the word like, Re, and then the word, of course, forever is completely obliterated. And the only other inscriptions on the bottom here between Horemheb or Tutankhamun with Amun, it says giving plants so that he may do or give as well, given life. So that he may have done or he may do to give life. So that's it. That's the only inscription on this top section here of the stela. And now we're going to proceed down to the first row, which is on the left, and we'll do that right after this. Now the translation begins here on the left side. Now a section of it is broken. We know that it is the first year of the reign. Now this could be the pharaoh Tutankhamun or Horemheb, but there's a lot of obliteration, so we know there were some changes. So we're going to go in the first year of the 4th month of Shemu, or the season of inundation. The Egyptians had 3 seasons of 4 months each. This was nearing the end of the year, and nearing close to the end of the year, and this is the 19th day. Before the majesty of, now we're going to do the 5 names of the pharaoh, referring to Horemheb here. The Horus, which is missing. The mighty bull. Perfect of births. Next title is the two ladies, the Nechbet and Wajet, and this is broken, but we know what it is. Here are the word for two lands. So the two ladies title is Beautiful of Laws Who Pacifies the Two Lands. So this is broken, but we know it's there. Pacifies the two lands. Then we get the Golden Horus name, which is the third name, who wears the crowns and who pacifies or placates the gods. Then you get the King of Upper and Lower Egypt title, which is, of course, Jesekare Setep Enre, which we saw above on the very top of the stela. And this says basically sacred, the manifestations of Ra, chosen of Ra. And then the son of Re, which is Horemheb, beloved of Amun, which means Horus is in festival, beloved of Amun. And that's what it says over here. And then we finish off with the titles of given. It's kind of broken off, but you could see given, life, like Ray forever. So given, life, like Ray forever and ever, or everlasting, which is broken off over here. So that's the first row. All right, now we're going to go over to the next row. Now the next row introduces and gives honors to at least 7 gods. So the first one will be Amun, which is kind of broken off here, who is the Lord of thrones and the two lands, who is foremost of Ipet Sut, which is the ancient Egyptian name of the city of Karnak. Then you have Atum, who is the Lord of the two lands. Now we're talking about the creator god Atum, the self-created one. And he is also the Lord of Iunu, or Heliopolis, of Rehorakti. So Heliopolis belongs to both Atum and Rehorakti. Then we get the Lord Ptah from Memphis, who is south of his wall, who is also the Lord. Now, a lot of the rest of it is damaged for Ptah, which is the Lord of Akhetawi. We know that from other inscriptions, Akhetawi, and this means the living two lands. And then we have Thoth, the god of writing, who is the Lord of the sacred word, Lord of the sacred word. And then the one who appears. Now the rest of it is broken off and damaged, but it says on the Horus throne of the living. So on the Horus throne of the living. And then it says, like his father, Re, every day. Now the third line over here, it reads, the good God, we know the word God is there, but it's broken off. So the good God, the son of Amun, begotten or born of Kamutef. It's an ancient Egyptian goddess known with fertility and the harvest as well, Kamutef, and many other things. Glorious of seed, and then sacred egg. This all comes over here. It's kind of badly damaged. Sacred egg. Begotten of Amun himself. And the rest is also damaged. It says father of the two lands. So it says here father of the two lands. It's damaged, but we know this from a different inscription. And this all says who molds his molder, who creates his creator. So this is all combined together. Who molds his molder, who creates his creator. For whose creation the souls, and then we come down here, of Heliopolis, for him assembled or made. 2. Act as king of eternity, Horus, or a Horus, who endures for everlasting, the good ruler, who does what is beneficial for his father and the gods, or all the gods. And now this is broken off over here, but it says he has restored, or he has restored that which was in ruin. As monuments, so as monuments, now this is the kind of age or a period of time, and this is eternal age. It's all mixed together up here. So this section here is down with this section over here in the fifth row of eternal age. He dispels injustice throughout the two lands. And justice is established, here it's broken off, in its place. He lets be falsehood in or as abomination, and as like the land in its primordial time. So from way back of creation. Now this is the part where Tutankhamun is proclaimed as a king. Now, when His Majesty arose as in kingship or as a king, continuing over here, the temples and the cities of the gods and the goddesses from the beginning in Elephantine, which is the south of Egypt, and now we're going to go north. A lot of it is destroyed here, and it says to the lagoons of the delta, which is pretty much really badly destroyed here, had fallen to ruin. And then continuing down here, their temples or shrines had fallen to ruin and become as ruins overgrown with plants. Here it's destroyed. Their sanctuaries were like that which never existed. Their temples as paths for walking or for feet, being the land in distress. The gods, they were turning away from this land. If sending, these two are together, sending an army to, now this is the word of a city known as Jahi, which is modern day Palestine. But it's not Palestine itself as it is, but just simply an area or a region or a combination of kingdoms or municipalities mixed together, but known as Palestine. Palestine, to widen the borders of Egypt, which is Kemet right over here. No success there came about. So nothing was achieved by expanding. There came about, and then this continues over here, at all. If one was to pray to a god to ask a thing of him, he would not come at all, or arrive or come. Now the word come at all is broken over here. If one prayed to any goddess, likewise, she would not come at all. Their hearts were weak in or upon their bodies. So this is the word bodies, and over here, down here is their, so their bodies. They had destroyed what has been made. After some days have passed after these or after this. His Majesty appeared upon the throne of his father. He ruled the banks of Horus. The black land and the red land were under his dominion, and every land as bowing, coming down here now, to his might or power. Now, his Majesty was in his palace, which is in the house of Ea Kepikare. This is the name of Thutmose I, who was the second pharaoh of the 18th dynasty, and he was crucial to establishing his kingdom or city center at Memphis, and that's where Tutankhamun returned from Akhenaten to Memphis. Like Re in the interior or within the sky. Therefore, His Majesty was executing the plans of this land and governing of the two banks of the Nile. Therefore, His Majesty, upon taking, coming down here, counsel with his heart, upon seeking every excellent deed, upon searching what is beneficial to his father Amun, upon fashioning his noble image of true electrum. Electrum is a natural occurring metal which is mixed with both gold and silver. He has done surpassing upon what was done before. Okay, we're just going to move up now the stela, so we have room to see. So we're just going to kind of pull it up a little bit, up to say about there. I want to make sure that we don't lose it. So right there. So we can continue on from where we finished off from before. I think it goes one more, and that's good right there. And we're going to bring that over so we don't lose that side of the stela. And we'll continue from there. We'll continue right from here. He fashioned, continuing here, his father Amun upon 13 carrying poles. So he put him upon poles and a shrine on top. His sacred image being in electrum of lapis lazuli. The word turquoise is broken here. And then every kind, so every precious stone, or every kind of precious stone, where before, so is before the majesty of this noble God had been upon or in front upon. Here we have the carrying poles again. It comes all the way down here. Carrying poles, but 11. So before he was on 11, in the text it says, but now he put him on 13, so honoring his God. Now we're addressing the god Ptah, where before we were addressing the god Atum. So he fashioned Ptah, who is south of his wall, who is the lord of Akhenaten, which means the living two lands. His noble image, so noble image, being of electrum, which is now this is broken off, being of electrum on 11 carrying poles, which is damaged over here. We know that's the number 11. His sacred image being as electrum, lapis lazuli, turquoise, and every noble or precious stone. Whereas before, the majesty of this God or this noble God, so this is the word God, and then going down to the next row, it says this noble, which connects to the one before, so this noble God, being upon 7 carrying poles. So he's honored the God Ptah by putting him on 11 poles where before he was on 7. Therefore, his majesty, upon making monuments for the gods, fashioning their statues in real or true electrum. The best of the foreign lands, this is kind of clustered together, the best of the foreign lands, upon building their sanctuaries and new. And this is going to, so brand new, which continues down here, and new. As monuments of eternal age, endowed with properties forever, upon setting aside for them divine offering as sacrifices for every day, upon providing their sacrificial bread upon the earth. He has done surpassing upon what has been done before. This is broken off, done before. He outdid what had been done under the time of his ancestors. He initiated priests and prophets and of children of officials from their towns. Also 4 sons of noted officials who their names are known. Going down here now. He multiplied their altars with gold, silver, bronze, and copper without limits of anything, which is broken here. He filled their storehouses or workhouses, so their workhouses, with male and female slaves, in bringing as booty or treasury reward of war of his majesty. Now down here, all tributes to the temples were increased. They were doubled, tripled, and quadrupled with silver, gold, lapis, turquoise, and every precious stone. Royal linen, white linen, fine cloth, so fine cloth, moringa oil, resin, and here's the word fat, so fat from animals. Continuing down here, there's a section broken over here. So this is incense, balm, myrrh, without limits of any good thing. Making new His Majesty, life, dominion, and health, their barks or royal barks or divine barks, upon the river from fresh cedar wood of Lebanon. Here the word for Lebanon is tepchet. Continuing down here now, which finishes off from Lebanon. For the pick of Nagah. Now this refers to a part of the boat, probably the mast of the boat or the front end of the boat, plated with gold from the best of the foreign lands, so that they may illuminate the river. Continuing here, His Majesty, life, dominion, and health, consecrated both male and female slaves, female singers and female dancers, which comes down to here, dancers, who had been in or as maidservants in the royal house or the palace. And their wages were charged to the palace, which is broken off here, and to the treasury, which is broken off here, of the Lord of the 2 lands. Now we're going to speak in the first person. So Tutankhamun is speaking in the first person. I let them be protected, guarded and protected for my forefathers and all the gods. Continuing down here, in order to placate them and in doing what their spirits like or prefer, so that they may protect Egypt. Now Egypt is broken off over here, or the land of Egypt. And the gods and the goddesses who are in this land, their hearts are in joy. The lords of sanctuaries, continuing down here, are in jubilation. The banks, referring to the banks of the Nile itself, are in cheering and exulting. Jubilation is throughout the entire land, since in a good state has come into being. The Aeneid, or the 9 gods of ancient Egypt from Heliopolis, or here we call them the Pesaget, who are in the great palace, their arms are in adoration. Their hands are full with said festivals. Continuing down here, for all eternity, everlasting. Now down here, all life and dominion before them at the nostrils of Horus, who repeats births, so he's constantly being reborn like the sun. Beloved son, now it's broken off here, of his father Amun, the king of the gods, and it continues here, who created, or he created him for his own creation, the king of Upper and Lower Egypt, the Sejanbi, and here is the throne name of Horemheb, which is just a Heperure Setep Enre, which means sacred are the manifestations of Ra, chosen of Ra. Beloved of Amun, his true eldest son. So the word true eldest son comes over here. See the word true? True. Coming over here, eldest son. Continuing back down over here, his beloved who protects the father who begot him, who made him. Over here it's he who exercises his kingship. Now the rest is broken, which is his father Osiris. And then here we have the son of Re, which is the title, personal name, or last name of a king. Here we have Horemheb. And we have the name of Horemheb Meri-Imen, which is Horus's in festival, beloved of Amun. The son who is beneficial to the one who created him. Rich in monuments and abundant in wonders. And now we're just going to scroll it up to get to the last end of it. So we're just going to go around there so we can see most of it. Continuing down here. Who makes monuments or builds monuments on his heart's initiative for his father Amun, who is perfect of births. The sovereign who restored Egypt, it's broken here. On this day, one is in the good palace, which is in the house of Ea Kepekare, which refers again to Thutmose III, who established his palace in Memphis. And this is his throne name, which means great is the manifestation of the Ka of Ra. Then we have true of voice or justified. Continuing here, while, now the rest is broken off here. Basically it says His Majesty, the LPH expression, which is life, stability, and health. And then we come down here is young. So youth is important to the Egyptians. And the one seizing the one who speeds or hurries upon his body, whom Khnum, who is the ram-headed god who created humanity, and then it says here, who molded him. So molding him, Khnum. The one who is mighty of arm. So this is basically the one who is mighty of arm, great in strength, who is more distinguished than the victorious, great of strength like the son of, now we know this is the son of Nut, the son of Nut being Seth. So there was a bit of a competition between Seth and Horus. Continuing down here, mighty of arm like Horus, not existing to him an equal, so nobody is equal to him, among the brave of all the land together, he who is knowledgeable like Re, the sun god. This is the word ingenious, like Ptah, perceptive, like Thoth, and who ordains laws and is effective of command. All right, continuing to the last line, who is excellent of judgment, the king of Upper and Lower Egypt, the Sejin be, the lord of the two lands, the lord of doing, the lord of strength. And then we get the throne name of Horemheb, which is Jeser Heperure Setep Enre. Once again, it means sacred are the manifestations of Ra, chosen of Ra. And over here it says who placates, and a lot of it is pretty much damage, but we know what it means. It's the son of Re of his body, which comes over here, his body. And over here we have his beloved, the Lord of every, or basically the Lord of every foreign land, which anything to do with deserts is foreign land. The Lord of appearing, or appearances. And then we go here, which is the personal name of Horemheb, which is Horus in festival, Meri Amun, beloved of Amun, given life, stability, or dominion and power like Re. And this is broken off. It means forever and everlasting. And finally, we come down to this section over here where we have, again, the throne name of Horemheb with his personal name, and they are basically on top of golden symbols, which are known as Nabu. Again, destroyed this Tutankhamun's name and put his name instead. This is an interesting image that repeats and mirrors on both sides. This, you'll see it on many temples in Karnak and Luxor and any other sacred locations. What you have is the bird, the Rahit bird. This is it signifies people worshiping, so common people. It's the symbol for common people. And the star that you see below is a word for worship, which is dua. So basically people are worshiping. And below that is the word neb. And this means all. So really you have three words together to visualize what is trying to be said, is basically all the common people worship, and they're all facing towards the cartouches or the shenrings or the royal names of the pharaoh. So they are all common people are worshiping the pharaoh, and that's what it means. All right, everybody, so that's the end of the translation. I hope you've enjoyed the translation of the Restoration Stela. You can check this out in the Museum of Cairo, the very, very, very far end of the museum. That should be, I think, somewhere around near the exit on the right. So thank you for watching again. Leave your comments and likes, and let me know if there's anything else you want to learn or have comments to say. Thank you, and see you next time.